Good evening and welcome to another edition of Tigers Roar right here on Pelican Sports TV. I'm Tommy Chrysan, glad to be here, glad to have you there, tuned in to Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans. Welcome to all of you watching the program tonight live on a Wednesday night, and to those of you on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com. This is a live show each and every Wednesday night, 2 full hours talking about LSU football, LSU sports. Every now and then we mix a little something else in there for the Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans markets, but we got plenty of stuff for you tonight. If you're catching this on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, you got a little replay going, but that's okay. We don't mind that. We certainly appreciate you being tuned in, and we do point out, for those of you watching live on a Wednesday, some parts of the state that we aren't reaching right now that we do reach on Fridays. On Friday from 5 to 7 p.m., our good friends at WHNO TV Channel 20 out in New Orleans, they rebroadcast this week's edition of Tigers Roar on their station from 5 to 7, WHNO TV Channel 20 out of New Orleans, and that covers the North Shore, Hammond, Ponchatoula, Covington, Mandeville, Pearl River, Slidell, Franklinton, Bogalusa, everybody over there, as well as Bayou Country in Terrebonne Parish, Lafourche Parish, Thibodaux, Houma, all that area, and reaches into the Mississippi Gulf Coast as well. So Tigers Roar spreading out all over the place. Please help spread the roar. Great way to keep up with that is at our Facebook page, which is Pelican Broadcasting. Pelican Broadcasting is the Facebook page. Great way to keep up with all the activities of Pelican Sports TV, Pelican Sports Radio. We've got a YouTube page which features many of the specials and features that Carter Bryant, other members of our staff do, and different other clips and activities from Pelican Sports TV. It's all at our YouTube page. We got the Twitter account. Great way to keep up with us. We almost 3,000 friends on the Pelican Broadcasting Facebook page, and thank each and every one of you, and we look forward to having many, many more. Also, you can send us an email, pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. That's any question, comment, thought, topic, good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. We'll get it to the correct person. The email address, pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. This is the last Wednesday in February. And what does that mean? That means that next Wednesday is the first Wednesday, last Wednesday in January. What does that mean? This next Wednesday is the first Wednesday in February. I'll get my month straight, which means it's the beginning of the National Signing Period, or National Signing Day as you know it. We're going to talk extensively tonight about LSU recruiting. We've got some tape on some commitments to LSU. We'll show you that. We'll talk about those players. We'll talk about plenty of that tonight on the program. Also, National Signing Day in Baton Rouge always brings around the Tiger Gridiron Club's annual bash, the 17th annual. Hard to believe. Jerry DiNardo started that thing in the old field house 17 years ago. Well, that thing has gotten bigger. It has changed venues, and we've got all that information for you on that event next Wednesday. In fact, we'll speak with Chuck Goodwin of the Tiger Gridiron Club in just a few minutes here. Going to give you all the details, how you can get tickets. It's going to be at the Baton Rouge River Center, but going to be in the arena this year, not the exhibit hall, because of the National Bowling Congress national tournament that's going on with the bowling down at the River Center, the preparations for that. So Chuck's going to get you all ironed out on that, so you'll know exactly where to go next Wednesday for the LSU signing day activities. And the bash has become one of the key events as far as LSU football goes, and specifically in the off season. Also on tonight's program, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. Yes, there's some LSU flavor and some Louisiana flavor in the Super Bowl. Obviously, that matchup is set. Wasn't last time we spoke to you on Tigers Roar, but of course the New York Giants, the New England Patriots in Indianapolis. Don't forget next year's Super Bowl in New Orleans on February 3rd of 2013 in the Superdome in New Orleans. But we'll talk a little bit about that Super Bowl. We've got men's basketball, women's basketball for you. We've got some track and field, some gymnastics, baseball, softball, plenty of stuff to talk about on all of that. On tonight's program, we'll also be joined by a member of our staff, Carter Bryant, who does such a great job with a lot of our features. Filled in a little bit last week on the program. Carter got some stuff to bring to the table tonight. We'll talk about that. In hour number 2, we remind you this is a 2-hour program. We will speak to Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. A little bit extended visit with Brian, a little longer than normal. We'll talk his angle of LSU recruiting. Of course, he and the guys at TigerBait.com do a great job. It's my source. I spent some time on that website today looking up some stuff. And we'll also, again, have more of Carter Bryant, weekly run through the LSU Athletic Department. Lots of good stuff on tonight's program. Also, want to remind you, another part of Pelican Broadcasting is Pelican Sports Radio. And we are on 1590 AM, KKAY, 1590 AM, Pelican Sports Radio, Monday through Friday, 3 to 4 p.m., same time slot we've been in for a while, but now it's KKAY 1590 AM. You see the information on your screen. There's a free app on your TuneIn radio. You see the little TuneIn icon there. That's the one you can find to get it on your smartphone. It's also available online on that laptop computer, KKAY1590.com, or Global Radio, KKAY1590.com. Again, Monday through Friday, 3 to 4 p.m., KKAY 1590 AM. Hopefully you can spread the word, help people know about it, that we have landed on 1590 AM. Of course, they've got an all-day lineup of local sports programming there. You can get Jordy Hultberg in the mornings from 7 until 9, the former basketball player and assistant coach at LSU. Jordy Hultberg is from 7 to 9. Chad Bluen goes 9 to 11. Buddy Sanji keeping it spicy from 1 to 3. And then, of course, Pelican Sports Radio, 3 to 4 p.m. So spread the word about all the shows, not just our Pelican Sports Radio show. It's local sports talk every Monday through Friday, taking your phone calls, mixing it up. TuneIn is the free app for your smartphone, online at KKAY1590.com or Global Radio KKAY.com. 1590 AM. Please help spread the word on that about our show and all of the shows. So we got a lot of jam-packed stuff for you tonight. Going to have a lot of fun. Again, we appreciate you being tuned in to Tigers Roar. We ask you to spread the roar. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, and this program does stream on the internet as well. What doesn't stream on the internet these days? This one does, PelicanSportsTV.com. This one and any of the other programming on the Pelican KPBN station. You can get it on the internet 24/7. Of course, Pelican is known for the hunting, the fishing, the outdoors programming, and a great mixture of local sports, and lots of plans for big things in 2012 for the Pelican that you'll learn about in the coming weeks and months as we go forward into the year. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the member of the Tiger Gridiron Club, Chuck Goodwin. He'll join us. We're going to talk about the Bash next Wednesday, February 1st. He's going to give you all the details, where exactly at the River Center it's going to be, how you can get tickets, how you can get involved, how you can go down there and have some fun, and support LSU football. You're watching Tigers Roar right here on Pelican Sports TV. I'm Tommy Chrysan. Stay with us. We're back after this pause.
Welcome, Louisiana Music Hall of Fame inductees Lillian Axe. Free album release party. February 4th at the Howlin' Wolf, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Hi, I'm attorney Kerry Bryson. My law firm focuses specifically on helping people try to solve their IRS tax problems. Lately, so many new out-of-state companies are popping up claiming that if you send them money, they can resolve your IRS problems. Well, what happens if they don't? Do you hire an attorney? Maybe you should start with a local attorney that's already handled hundreds of IRS cases right here in Louisiana. When you hire the Bryson Law Firm, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some out-of-town high-pressure salesman. You'll meet with us in person at our office right here in Baton Rouge. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and we'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it'll cost. So if you're hiring a company to resolve your IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, check their reputation first, then call me, Kerry Bryson, or go to BrysonLawFirm.com. If you're a Louisiana resident and you have an IRS problem, hire a Louisiana attorney, Kerry Bryson.
Hello, my name is Debbie. Welcome to Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair.
Come see the many great lines we carry in bridal, bridesmaids, mothers, flower girls, tuxes, and more. We also carry over 25 top designer lines in debutante gowns, Mardi Gras, pageant, and prom. Come meet me and my staff with over 30 years of bridal and pageant experience. Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair, Burnside and Gonzales, where service matters.
We continue with Tigers Roar here on Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, and on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com. Appreciate you being tuned in here live on a Wednesday night. It's my pleasure now to be joined by one of the original members of the Tiger Gridiron Club, going back some 17, 18 years when they actually formed the club, and Coach Jerry DiNardo had the idea to let's have a little bash. I don't know if that word came out right away, but a get-together in the Carl Maddox Fieldhouse to look at who was going to sign with LSU. And, of course, DiNardo's first class featured the likes of Kevin Falk and Todd McClure and others. So it was a pretty good deal. Chuck Goodwin, how you doing tonight,
Good,
Chuck?
how you doing? Glad to have you on.
Oh, so glad to have you with us. As I mentioned, you're one of the founding charter members of the Gridiron Club. How far before that first bash did the Gridiron Club start?
It was like in April before the year before.
The year before.
You know, Jerry came on board, and we were having a meeting with another booster group, and he came and showed up at the Chinese Inn on Airline Highway and said he wanted to start a club, and we started working on it.
There you go. And so then that first bash 17 years
Right.
ago, and I'm sure you remember that first one, second one. You were telling me you were up
Yeah.
on a ladder hanging banners,
Hanging
in
banners.
the Carl Maddox Fieldhouse. That event has grown, and many, I mean, the Gridiron Club and Coach DiNardo gets credit for the birth of this type of event, which is
Right.
now spread nationwide.
Nationwide.
Even the other state schools, I know ULL's having something in Lafayette, Southeastern's having something in Hammond, much smaller scale
Right.
than what you guys are doing, but in some of the bigger schools, nobody really has it as big as LSU.
I don't
But
believe
there's
it,
some
no.
other events that have become, you know, marked on the calendar kind of things, and it all started with you guys. So I wanted to make sure everybody, some of them new young people watching might not realize it. That all started with the Gridiron Club and with Jerry DiNardo.
We got a call from, I got actually an email from a fellow at University of Maryland that used to work at LSU, and he said, I'm going to bring this bash up here and get it going up here.
They get it going?
Yeah,
Well, they
he's
keep
got-
firing
they've got a
coordinators
smaller
up
one.
there.
They got a smaller one, but you know, this is the first year they're doing it.
Yeah.
So they're getting
Well,
started.
they got this one started. The LSU one started.
This one started
small.
pretty big right off the bat. I mean, we probably had 1,000 people in there the first year, and we didn't even get to advertise it that much. It was just
It kind of just happened.
happened,
huh?
yeah.
All right, well, no, but again, we're glad you're here with us on Pelican, and of course, we're going to give away some tickets on Pelican Sports Radio. You'll hear that in the coming days, but we want to tell everybody again, this is the 17th annual. It's presented by RobinsonBrothers.com, and I know you guys are appreciative of them.
We're real appreciative of our sponsors. We got Robinson Brothers, just the sponsoring
Presenting sponsor.
and we've got, you know, Mockler Beverage. We got Coca-Cola and Community Coffee, and
Eagle 98.1.
Eagle 98.1 is our pretty much our coordinating partner for the event. And
And of
they were
course-
very helpful.
And of course, the Tiger Gridiron Club.
Yeah,
Now,
Tiger Gridiron
this year's event is at the Baton Rouge River Center Arena. And
Arena.
it's key that I say the word arena
Yes.
because because of the bowling event, the national bowling
Right.
event that's coming to our town that's going to be here for months, from what I
till
understand.
August, I think.
You guys have had to move, so tell everybody about the location a little bit.
If you've been to the exhibition hall, you come down Government and turn on River Road, and the exhibition hall is right there on the corner. The arena is right next to it, but to get to this event, we want you to try to park up on St. Louis Street on the garage, and then walk through the garage to the entrance to the back of the ballroom, and that's how we'll have it entering this year. So then we'll have all our exhibitors up in the ballroom. We'll have our food court up in the ballroom, and the beer trucks will be up in the ballrooms, and we're going to have a little sports bar type atmosphere up there with some tables for sitting around. Back in the exhibition hall, we were all in one room, so we had the food court in the back, and we had tables back there for people to sit and watch and listen and you know, talk. And so this way we're going to be in a separate room, so we're going to have TVs for people to watch and tables around the TVs, 10-foot TVs, 4 of them in a cube, and they'll be able to watch the events as they go on.
All right, let's take everybody through the day.
Okay.
Again, at the Baton Rouge River Center, in the arena.
In the
If
arena.
you've been to a concert in the arena or one of the old hockey games or the old indoor football games, it's going to be in that arena will
right.
be where the bash does take place. One thing, the tickets are $30 in advance, $45
That's right.
at the door.
That's right.
We'll correct that graphic. But let's take them through the day. Again, we're talking to Chuck Goodwin of the Tiger Gridiron Club. Doors are opening at 8:30.
Doors are
so
open at
tell us
8:30.
what can happen for those that want to get there at 8:30.
You get there at 8:30, you come in, there'll be breakfast will be served. We'll have donuts and we'll have eggs and different biscuits and things like that for breakfast, and coffee, of course, and Coca-Cola, if you like that, orange juice. And you can hang out right there, and we'll be starting off right away with a welcoming address, and then videos will start showing, and we'll have people coming on the stage. We'll have Paul Maneri, Tommy Moffitt,
A lot of LSU,
dignitaries
from the athletic department, not just football, but you're going to spread it around a little bit.
We spread it around a little bit. The director of the Cox Academic Center is going to come.
A lot of former players will be on hand.
Former players will have a forum in the afternoon and have players up on the stage. So we're going to have a really good event. We'll show when a player signs, and it's officially
paperwork's done.
Paperwork's done, and we've been guaranteed that it's done. We don't report anything until it's done. We will show that recruit's letter highlight film for about 60 seconds at that time, and that'll go on all day as they sign. So then, and we'll have at 10:30 we'll start serving the beer.
The beer starts at 10:30. That's a key factor for a lot of them.
That's
a lot of people take a vacation day to come to this event from
That's
their work, from their employment. So 8:30, there's breakfast, there's coffee, there's donuts, community coffee, obviously with the coffee, Coca-Cola, and then 10:30, the beer trucks open, beers by Mockler Beverage, and then of course plenty to go see vendors and go to the food court. The TVs will have something on it. And there are going to be a lot of celebrities, a lot of former LSU football players, a lot of current members in the athletic department of the other sports programs there. Lunchtime in the past years, Chuck, 11:30 you're going to serve lunch, but a few more people, some people slip, work a little bit in the morning, slip out of the office, come to the bash, or some come during their lunch break. So it's going to get a little more crowded, but lunch will start at 11:30.
Lunch will start at 11:30, and it'll go till there's no more food. And then we'll have our shows in the afternoon on the stage. And then at around 4 o'clock, the band will come in, they'll get set up and everything, and they'll play right before Coach Miles comes in. We're going to have the band this year. We'll have some cheerleaders. We'll have some Golden Girls. Mike the Tiger's going to come. So it's going to be a great event.
The real Mike the Tiger or the costume Mike?
The costume Mike the Tiger.
I was going to see if we could roll the real Mike in there. All right, and do want to point out, Buddy Sanji will broadcast live from 1 to 3 p.m., KKAY 1590 a.m. So those of you got to go stop by and say hello to Buddy. Pelican Sports Radio and me, Tommy Christ, will follow Buddy immediately at 3 o'clock. Buddy will jump out the table. I'll jump in there. So we'll have a live broadcast. We know not everybody can attend, but people are going to want to hear what's going on. And we appreciate you guys allowing us at Pelican and KKAY to come on in. Now, you kind of tipped it off, but the band's going to come in the evening. Coach Miles about 5:30 is going to arrive, give or take a little bit. He's not on time for his press luncheon, so I'm going to go with 5:45. But in that area, there'll be a huge crowd. The band, it's a pretty exciting time when that band starts playing inside that building. You think they're loud in Tiger Stadium? They're loud inside.
And it's going to really be good in the arena when Coach Miles is in there. And during the day, if you want to come down and watch what's going on the stage, there's arena-style seating around it, so you're sitting up like you do in the PMAC or in that type of arena. So you really have a better visual of the stage, we believe, than you do in the exhibition hall. But it is separate of it, so it's a little bit different. It's a one-year-only time thing. We're just doing
because
it
of the bowling thing. A little bit of change in the layout, I guess, is a good way to put it. So once again, you want to get your tickets now, okay? Advanced tickets are $30. They'll be $45 at the door. You can go to Ticketmaster.com and get your tickets. That'll be a great way to do it. Are there any VIP tables left? I know they were limited.
There may be a couple left because we rearranged the seating a little bit the last couple of days, so we've added a couple tables. So Ed Fisher has that all the information.
Yeah, that's Ed Fisher. You can email us here at the station. I can get you in touch with Ed if you're looking for a table. But get those tickets in advance at Ticketmaster. I'm going to have some to give away on the radio tomorrow and the next day. I think Buddy Sanji's doing the same thing, so you can tune to KKAY. You might win a couple of tickets, and hey, they're good to go. They get you in there, save you a couple of bucks, and you can have just as much fun as anybody.
And you can save a few more bucks if you go to the Baton Rouge River Center box office in advance and buy them directly there, because then you don't pay the Ticketmaster fee.
Right.
So you can save a few bucks there.
Yeah, so go to the box office at the River Center. Stop by any time. Call them, make sure they're ours. You can pull over and get in there and do that. So once again, Chuck, I know.
Let me mention one more thing.
Sure.
We're going to have a great silent auction this year, and it's going to be.
Tell us about some of the items.
It's going to be on the floor. We'll have a trip to Florida with the team. We'll have dream walks down the hill with the band. We'll have walks down the hill and sideline passes before the game, and so we got a lot of things like that. We're going to have uniform. We'll have balls, footballs. We'll have a lot of LSU memorabilia. Just a lot of things.
And there'll be some. There'll be some items that aren't as expensive as others too.
Correct.
I mean, certainly a trip to Florida is going to go for a whole lot more than an autographed football.
Sure.
But so it fits everybody's budget. Not you may be able to get a football or a jersey or a hat or some smaller item. but you certainly can bid on the bigger items too, and the proceeds go right back to the LSU
That's correct.
football program.
That's correct. They all go in the Tiger Gridiron Club Fund for the use of the football program, overseen by TAF, obviously. But yeah, we'll have pictures and things like that, signed pictures, autographed pictures of plays that happened. I know we got a great one of Eric Reed intercepting that ball.
Okay.
So that's going to be, and that'll be there.
Well,
so.
Chuck, I want you to do this too. I know there's a lot of other guys in the Gridiron Club. I know you're
That's
not
right.
doing all this work yourself. I've been involved with this event on and off for
That's
the
right.
years. I want you to thank some of the other guys
Yeah,
who I know are
I
putting,
really wanna
like
do
you,
that.
are putting a lot of time and effort into making this event what it is.
Well, you know, we got our founding father, Chico Moore. He's
Right.
He's in charge of our food vendors. And
That's
the
a
food
good thing
court.
for Chico,
Yeah, it
yeah.
is. It is. You know, he works over at Drusilla now,
Right.
so that fits in with him. And Buddy Bro does the programming, so he's working on the program. Ed Fisher obviously handles the tables. Vince is working with Bob Beechler on the audio visual. And we got just a lot of people working. Can't remember them all, to be honest with you.
Well, you don't want to leave anybody
But
out.
I don't want to leave
lots
anybody
of
out.
people.
But Shard Langley, she handles the auction procurement, so she's out there hustling stuff up for us, getting the auction set up. And Buddy Hare will be doing the raffle. We'll have a raffle. We'll have items being raffled off on the stage about every half hour. So it's just a lot of fun.
It's an all-day thing. Again, the doors open at 8:30, and when you get down there, you can find Chuck or somebody else, and they can tell you how you can look at joining the Gridiron Club if you
Right.
want to do that.
We'll have a booth there, so that if you want to join the Gridiron Club, you can join right there. And I think it's a great venue.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
A lot of good people. A lot of people that love LSU, so
Yeah.
you can put yourself right in the middle of that. So again, one more time, we'll put the graphic up. It's Wednesday, February the 1st, 1 week from tonight. Doors opening at 8:30 in the morning in the River Center Arena, in the arena part where they played hockey, where they played indoor football, where you may have seen a concert or two in that arena part. Doors opening at 8:30. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster, or as Chuck said, go to the box office at the River Center, save that little Ticketmaster fee, and get on out there. There are some limited tables available. Send an email to pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. I'll get that to Chuck and to Ed Fisher if you're interested in a table. And again, Buddy Sanji and I will broadcast live. Buddy 1 to 3, me 3 to 4. If you can't make it out there, put us on the radio. We'll let you know what's happening. Chuck, we really appreciate you taking time to come on Tigers Roar TV tonight.
Appreciate you having me.
And appreciate the partnership that we have here. And we hope the event is absolutely super next week.
I think it will be. I think we'll have a great recruiting class.
All right, Chuck Go and the Tiger Gridiron Club 17th Annual Bash. When we come back, we'll be joined by Carter Bryant and keep you rolling with more Tigers Roar. I'm Tommy Christ, and this is Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans, and on the internet at pelicansportstv.com.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Tynan, Miss Louisiana Team USA 2011.
And I'm Paige Pennick, Miss Louisiana USA 2011.
And you're watching Pelican Sports TV.
BetterBatonRougeJobs.com has been extremely beneficial for the Team Automotive Group. And what stands out to us, it's easy to use, not only for us, but it's easy for the applicants. And it's the quality of applicants that we get. It's timely. We post something in the morning. By that afternoon, we have double-digit applicants. And again, it's the quality of the applicants.
Employers, now is a great time to hire, recruit, and look for potential new employees.
BetterBatonRougeJobs.com. It's free for job seekers and great for business.
You're on the same flight.
We'll be on the same plane
Yeah,
regardless.
when we should work. Anything together? Do we know that?
Got it.
Thanks, Dave.
The big, brilliant, thin Samsung Infuse 4G. Only from the network of possibilities, AT&T.
For the thirsty, for those who hang out in packs, for heroes, for sidekicks, for those who see the glass half empty, for those who see it half full, for those on the right, for those on the left, for those with nicknames, for those with curves, for people that cycle, for people that recycle, for BFFs, for frenemies, for those with style, for lovers, for families, for big families, for everyone.
40 years, 4 decades, nearly half a century. That's how long the citizens of Greater Baton Rouge have chosen Richards Honda. A simple, sincere, and honest process.
Louisiana's oldest and most experienced Honda dealership for over 40 years, Richards Honda.
I want to tell you about a special event happening on Saturday, February the 4th down in Gonzales at the Gonzales Civic Center right there on Irma Boulevard. It's a charity event. It's the Crew of Gonzales Fraternal Order of Police Jambalaya Lodge number 16 Mardi Gras Ball. It's a black tie event sponsored by Debbie's Bridal, A Formal Affair. You can get tickets and reserve a table by stopping by Debbie's Bridal, A Formal Affair in Gonzales on Burnside, or give them a call, 644-2942, or you can get tickets at the Fraternal Order of Police headquarters or Mr. Fix-It's down in Gonzales. You can get tickets. Again, a charity event, great cause. Going to help out the Fraternal Order of Police, Jambalaya Lodge 16, and the Dream Day Foundation. It's a black tie event, and the proceeds from the sales at Debbie's Bridal will go to the benefactors, Dream Day Foundation and the Fraternal Order of Police, Jambalaya Lodge 16. So put that on your calendar. Stop in Debbie's Bridal on Burnside and Gonzales, or give them a call, 644-2942, or go to the headquarters of the Fraternal Order of Police or Mr. Fix-It's. You need to be there in Gonzales. That's Saturday night, 7 p.m. until midnight, February 4th. So be a part of that event, help out a great cause, great charity event, and we're happy to plug that here on Pelican Broadcasting. Right now, it's my pleasure to be joined by a member of the staff here on Pelican Sports TV. You've seen him for the last year and a half doing different things and sitting in with us for like an hour last week on the program, and we're getting him an apple box here. For those of you that don't know what that means, I'm a little taller than Carter. Carter Bryant, how the heck are you doing today?
I am doing great. I didn't know
Marty
this.
messing you up?
I didn't know this had to happen right now.
No, this is all the works of the crew here.
I'm telling you.
You know your fellow crew members?
During the middle of the segment, I met Marty. He was the first member I've met at Pelican Broadcasting. It's been a great marriage.
Tell us that story about meeting Marty. I know it changed your life.
Well, yeah, I'm telling you. And obviously, you could see him being the father figure. You know, he's a great father to his lovely daughter, and he's making sure I don't look like a pipsqueak. So just to remind you, LSU's best basketball player this year, Anthony Hickey, is my height. So I should feel a little bit better.
How tall are you?
About 5'7", 5'8". He's probably a little taller.
5'7", 5'8". How tall are you? You're not 5'7", 5'8".
We'll go 5'7" and a half.
Okay.
Why not?
And Anthony Hickey's the same height?
Well, he's around there.
Well, you know, when you watch ESPN, you know, Lou Holtz and Mark May sit right next to each other, and Mark May is probably every bit of 9 or 10 inches taller, but yet when they sit on the set, they're even. So see, that's what Marty, our floor director, is doing. He's got us eye to eye here, where you don't have to look up and I don't have to look down.
Well,
you just didn't want it done on camera. Huh?
The only thing I wanted in my broadcasting career is a Lou Holtz comparison, so I deeply appreciate that.
That's all subjective right there. But anyway, Carter Bryant going to have some fun with us tonight. We've got a lot of topics to get to. Of course, he's very tuned in to things happening on the campus at LSU, as well as all the other sports around South Louisiana. And again, later on in the program, we'll speak to Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com a little bit. But want to get into recruiting. As I mentioned, this is the last Wednesday in January, which means the next Wednesday is the first Wednesday in February, and it's the beginning of the National Signing Period, or National Signing Day, as it has been called. Carter, quite frankly, with a week to go, Coach Miles said last week they needed to finish strong with recruiting, and they still need to finish strong. They don't have a quarterback committed yet, or not. It's not been published that one is committed.
Yeah.
And they've got a few openings. You know, the whole Landon Collins thing. Even though he's going to visit LSU this week, he's saying he's 100% going to Alabama. There's some other guys involved. But what are you hearing in and around the campus and in the circles you're talking to, and your colleagues in the media, your fellow students, and people that you know in Baton Rouge? Are the Tigers going to make this late finish strong that Coach Miles has suggested?
Well, at the quarterback position, they're probably not. I mean, of course, you have the Gunnar Keel saga. We've covered all that. Jeremy Liggins earlier this week, the kid out of Mississippi, he's not going to go to LSU. He's either going to go to Ole Miss, Mississippi State. He said earlier this week that he wants to stay in the state of Mississippi. Now, you look at the other great quarterback that they're looking at, Jameis Winston. That's not going to happen either. Sorry, Tiger fans. So
really, the kid from Alabama.
I just don't see it happening. I don't know how LSU can come in there and grab him at the last bit. So you're rolling with Zach Mettenberger just for this year, and you still have Steven Rivers and the Randalls of the world there, Trevor Randall. So nothing at the quarterback position is really going to change.
Isn't that going to be like not good if they don't sign a quarterback?
Well, maybe.
I mean, you can't go sign a guy who can't play. I understand that,
yes,
but I mean, you got to keep that succession in order where you got guys. You know, you don't end up with 2 seniors like you did this year, then a big gap. If it wasn't for Mettenberger transferring in, you'd have had a true freshman next in line with Steven Rivers from up in Athens, Alabama. So, I mean, they got to find someone somewhere.
Yeah, and that's been the stories for LSU quarterback. I mean, everyone always mentions the Ron Perley era. That was the first of really unfortunate quarterback mishaps. I mean, I was high on Zach Lee whenever he came here. That didn't work out because he's going to play baseball now. So you're looking at the position, what is LSU going to do for the future? They're going to have to pick up somebody over the next couple of years. I think they're fine right now with Zach Mettenberger, of course, but the Gunnar Keel, that could end up being a big mistake for the Tigers in the future.
Well, and again, I mean, you're not going to get everybody. Kids are going to go somewhere. Kids from, Keel's from Indiana. He didn't come to LSU. You got guys from Louisiana that are going to leave the state. Other people are going to leave other states and come here. Some of LSU's greatest players came from out of the state over the decades. So that's part of it. But, this recruiting class, and I know it's all subjective, and you got all these different polls and rankings, and this group says this, but you can put a little weight behind it. And everybody's got LSU like 16, 18, 19, everywhere I'm looking. Alabama's up top. Florida State's doing really, really well. Georgia. Texas, Southern Cal, all these people are doing really, really good. And LSU's kind of down there a little bit where in past years, Carter, as you know, LSU's been up there in that top 5. Now, before I let you comment, I will say I've always maintained that the true measuring stick of a recruiting class is 2, 3, or even 4 years down the road when you find out how many stayed on the team, how many were productive on the field, do you have anybody that was all conference, whether it was first team, second team. That's when you can really tell the merits of a recruiting class. But we're going to do it. There's signing days next week with the Tiger Gridiron Club Bash and all over the state. Everybody's got a little party for their signees. As I mentioned, Louisiana Lafayette's got something going. I know Southeastern does. McNeese, people have it going. But this LSU class, it's not as warm and fuzzy as past years.
It's not. And I think one thing that hurts is how young the team is. I mean, instant playing time is going to be tough when LSU after 2 deep this year was so deep, and all those guys were mainly freshmen and sophomores this year. I think one recruit that really hurt over the past week was Mario Edwards. I mean, the whole time he was going to Florida State, I felt that he was going to be at Florida State. I just think the defensive line position for LSU, you can't have enough guys at that position. Edwards is one of those polished defensive ends I watched earlier this year that keeps his outside shoulder free, attacks the offensive lineman, and I think he was ready to play right then and there in the next 2 deep to go along with the Roscoes and all the other great defensive linemen.
Johnson.
Yes, and he could also move to defensive tackle. Mario Edwards is a thick guy that
like
LSU
Brockers
lost.
Became.
Yes, so.
See, well, I thought when Brockers left, if you're Mario Edwards, you're thinking, okay, if Brockers didn't leave, he's on the field most of the snaps next year. So, but the LSU's that deep with Johnson and Rasco and all that.
Yeah, and that's one thing that probably shot him away from LSU. Tyrann Mathieu was his escort earlier this year. Mario Edwards' dad, though, was a great player at Florida State. If my father was a great player at Florida State, I'd want to follow in his footsteps.
Go wear his dad's number down there.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see him play. Now, what I would say about Edwards is I don't think he's Jadeveon Clowney from last year, the star for South Carolina, because Clowney has top-end speed. He's a slender guy. Edwards is more of a more complete against the run type of outside defensive end type of player. I don't think that he would have had a Clowney type impact on this team next year. But I think in the future, the number one player in any class can help you, especially at a position where you need a lot of guys such as defensive end.
Well, it's back to some of the commitments that are committed to LSU, and anything can change between now and Wednesday, February 1. But who are some of the ones you really like that are committed and look like solid commitments?
I think, Tommy, when you look, you always got to shore up New Orleans, Louisiana. You look at Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, the guy was a 2-3 star on all recruiting boards. Look at him now. I think most of the talent in the state is in New Orleans. And you look at what Derek Ettenberger can bring at offensive line. A 6'8" guy, needs to work on his foot speed. but he is very
Here's
raw.
a look at Derek Edinburgh. Edna Carr High School, they were in the Dome, lost to Neville for the 4A title, but he's a big offensive lineman, 6'8", 320. But you see him on the left side there getting out and blocking in front. Look, that's a big guy moving down the field. That's good to see.
And you look at Lyle Collins. He's going to be a guy that's probably going to step in and play some next year. Alex Hurst, the start of this year for LSU at tackle, was a huge liability in the national championship game. His spot is uncertain for next year starting. I used to be high on Hurst, but both games he played last year against Alabama was dominated by Courtney Upshaw, was dominated by Jesse Williams. You need a bigger, more athletic guy. Edinburgh could be one of those guys, and Lyle Collins could be one of those guys that can come in and start right away.
And again, Edinburgh's lining up at left tackle in the white uniform here. You can see he's much bigger than anybody else on the field offensively or defensively. A good block right there in the running game. So Derek Edinburgh, 6'8", 320 from Edna Carr. Jabbar Jaluki, great coach down there at Edna Carr. Again, they made it to the Superdome this year, and they have always produced athletes, college prospects, and this year is no different. Keep in mind, too, that there's a sophomore defensive end on that Edna Carr program. His name is Gerald Willis. He's the brother of Landon Collins at Dutchtown. And Gerald Willis is only going to be a junior next prep season, but he's one of the top players in the state. He's like 6'5", 240. Landon Collins' little brother at this same school that is producing Derek Edinburgh that you see on your screen. So Edinburgh, it's tough to come in and play tackle as a true freshman. He's got the size, but as you said, Carter, needs to work on his footwork, and that's important.
Yeah, and you see right here, he's moving down the field well against high school competition. But can you get to the second level, to the quicker linebackers at the college level? I mean,
and the SEC level.
And the SEC level. So you look at this great offensive lineman. I think another position that LSU really has shored up is linebacker. Once again, you got to go to the city of New Orleans and dominate that city every year in recruiting. You look at Debo Jones. He's one of those guys.
Here's a look at Debo Jones. I want to point it out, Carter. Jesuit High School. They're in the white jerseys, blue pants. They're 6 foot, 200 pounds. Had committed to Nebraska, I want to say, or Tennessee, and then he changed it and decided to go to LSU. So you get a look at him for the Jesuit Blue Jays there making the tackle. Again, he's a linebacker, white jersey, blue pants on your screen.
Always when you see a Jesuit high school team play, they're a disciplined football team, and I think you're going to get a disciplined player in Jones. You look at linebacker this year for LSU, they were thin. And you also look at the other great linebackers LSU has been able to shore up. LaRonzo Phillips made that commitment list go up to 21. Huge at this position that you shore it up and get a lot of players. Linebacker, Tommy, another position you have to be deep in a position of weakness this year for LSU.
As good as LSU's defense was, the weak link this year was the linebacker position, with all due respect to Ryan Baker and the guys that were there. But the line and the secondary were much better than the linebacker.
Ryan Baker was terrible at the end of the year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Georgia game, he was exposed. Arkansas missed a lot of tackles. And against Alabama, he was shredded on the outside by Trent Richardson in the second level of the offensive line. I think this year you saw you saw some growth in the linebacking core to a certain extent. Kevin Minner did grow. He played actually pretty well in the national championship game for a guy that struggled early in the year against Trent Richardson in the Alabama offense. I think Debo Jones, Phillips, and those guys, to Charles Davis, another commitment earlier this year, they have to play right away. And if one of those guys can come in and say, hey, I can be one of those guys, I can go in against a tough running attack of Alabama and play right away, that'll be huge for this team.
Another commitment out of the city of New Orleans, John Curtis High School. We all know about that tradition. Another state title down there, state title number 24 for J.T. Curtis, and a Pelican broadcasting tip of the hat to Coach Curtis, who picked up his 500th career win as a high school football coach during the season against Cohen earlier this year. And he has won 500 games all at John Curtis High School. Well, he's got a big tight end, 6'5", 245, Dylan Gordon, who is an LSU commitment. LSU can certainly use help at the tight end. Gordon will be catching the ball here. He's in the blue uniform in this case for the John Curtis Patriots.
Another position of weakness this year for LSU, D'Angelo Peterson, played 38 snaps against
Curtis
Alabama.
in the red jerseys here, tight end on the right side. Go ahead.
And he's just, if anybody out there at tight end can step up for LSU, that'll be huge, especially a guy that such as Gordon, who's a great route runner. He's able to get to the next level. Sort of an Orson Charles type of guy. He's 6'5", 245. Great size, great strength. Can he become a polished blocker at the next level? Can't wait to see how he develops in this offense. And can't Can this tight end position get better for next year? I don't see it happening. I don't see Gordon being a true freshman contributor. He'll probably redshirt next year. But the position is open, and we've been wrong on evaluating guys out of New Orleans before. He can possibly play right away, but right now I see him redshirting for next season.
Well, another thing you got to keep in mind at the major college level, tight ends a lot of times become defensive linemen, or they move down closer to the ball, play tackle or even guard. And I remember Coach Jerry DiNardo one year signed like 6 tight ends when he was here in LSU in the mid-'90s. I remember talking to Coach about that. He said, well, on a high school team, the tight end is usually a guy who can catch a little bit because they got him at tight end. He can block because they got him in there for the run game. He's got some agility because he's got to be flexible and move around. And sometimes, other than your skill position, receivers and you guys out away from the ball, and in a lot of high school situations, that tight end's a talented guy. And a lot of guys have moved to defensive line or even inside to a tackle once they got to the collegiate level, not just at LSU, but all over the state, all over the country. So that's something to keep in mind, too, with Dylan Gordon. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's something that happens a little more than people think.
Yeah, and LSU has a great history of players switching positions. You look at all the quarterbacks that have become safeties, and Michael Brockers this year, arguably the most consistent defensive lineman this year.
He was an end when he got here.
And then moved down to defensive tackle. I think one guy, I know we're pushing up against break here, is Cordell Patterson, a wide receiver, the junior college superstar. I think LSU needs to sign this guy. This is one guy that they need that can play next year. I looked at his tape earlier today, was amazed. He looks like Randy Moss. They even have the Viking on the side of his helmet. He's great. 6'3", a lot of great size. And it wasn't just the deep routes, there were drag routes as well. He's not a great blocker because at the junior college level, if you have that much talent, such as Patterson, he doesn't need to block. But as far as that deep threat, Les Miles already told him earlier this week, you can replace Ruben Randall right away at the position. Like I told last week on Tigers Roar, we don't know how good Russell Shepard is. We don't even know if that's really meant that much for him to come back to this team with only 14 catches from last year. You also look, Odell Beckham Jr.
Jarvis Landry.
They didn't perform.
They got to get better.
Yeah, I mean, Jarvis Landry didn't play that much offensively.
Beckham came out of the gate strong. Looked very good, but then just kind of floated around the rest of the year.
And that was partially because he had a great relationship with Jerry Lee, had some great rhythm there. I think Patterson's one of those guys that doesn't matter who you put at quarterback. Zach Mettenberger also sold the program to Patterson earlier this week. He is a guy that LSU needs to sign. You better hope for the best, Tiger fans, because this guy is one of those guys that safeties have to play a little bit back. Ruben Randall, if you go and watch the All-22 film, which I've been able to a couple times, Ruben Randall calls for safety help every play, and that did so much for the LSU passing attack. Patterson is one of those guys that has that top-end ability. I think he would have been as important as Mario Edwards would have been if he would have signed. This is a big junior college guy that you need on your offense. You look at Dorial Green-Beckham. He's probably going to sign for Arkansas. Also, Arkansas, some other great receivers. I'm forgetting his name right now. The other receiver was the top junior college player in the country. And you also look at Kenny Bell from Alabama. I think that guy's going to be a superstar guy. LSU lost a couple years to Alabama from the great state of Louisiana. Patterson's one of those guys that LSU needs in this offense for next year for the offense to get back to the production it was last season.
He's Carter Bryant. I'm Tommy Christ, and you are tuned to Tigers Roar TV, live on a Wednesday night from 8 until 10 p.m. on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com and Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans. Spread the roar. We'll be back to talk about a former tight end who's down at the Senior Bowl and had some interesting comments to the media this week. That's up when we return with more Tigers Roar.
Key attributes that really puts Papa John's Pizza over the top is our meats. Nobody does what Papa John's does.
For just $11, get our new double-layered premium pepperoni pizza, loaded with a layer of our signature pepperoni, plus a layer of oversized deli-style pepperoni. Just $11 for a large. Plus, get double points all weekend long and earn free pizza fast with Papa Rewards, only at papajohns.com. Sign up now.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Attention all companies dealing with cash flow problems. Companies are going out of business every day. Bankruptcies are at an all-time high. Accounts receivable delinquencies are at the highest levels in decades. Let us help your business collect money owed to your business. NRH and Associates has the solutions. Let NRH and Associates utilize their innovative collection methods to get cash flow back into your business. Call 601-889-0501. That number again, 601-889-0501.
Hi, I'm attorney Kerry Bryson. My law firm focuses specifically on helping people try to solve their IRS tax problems. Lately, so many new out-of-state companies are popping up claiming that if you send them money, they can resolve your IRS problems. Well, what happens if they don't? Do you hire an attorney? Maybe you should start with a local attorney that's already handled hundreds of IRS cases right here in Louisiana. When you hire the Bryson Law Firm, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some out-of-town high-pressure salesman. You'll meet with us in person at our office right here in Baton Rouge. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and we'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it'll cost. So if you're hiring a company to resolve your IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, check their reputation first, then call me, Kerry Bryson, or go to brysonlawfirm.com. If you're a Louisiana resident and you have an IRS problem, hire a Louisiana attorney, Kerry Bryson.
Hey, if you like rock and roll, and I certainly do, you need to come check out a free live show in the Warehouse District in New Orleans at the Howlin' Wolf. You folks watching in New Orleans, you know where the Howlin' Wolf is. Doors are going to open at 9 p.m. A CD release party, a new CD called The Days Before Tomorrow by Lillian Axe. That's right, Lillian Axe is ready to do some rock and roll again with a new CD, and you can come to a free live show Saturday night, February 4th in New Orleans. Doors open at 9 o'clock at the Howlin' Wolf in the Warehouse District in New Orleans. For more information, go to lillianaxe.com. You can get all the info there. Lillian Axe, you don't want to miss it. It'll be a rocking night. There's a meet and greet after the show. Go have some fun at the Howlin' Wolf. We want you to be there to check out Lillian Axe. They rock it as good as anybody. We continue with Tigers Roar. Carter Bryant, Tommy Chrysan with you on this Wednesday night. Appreciate you being tuned in. Carter, a little earlier this week, of course, the Senior Bowl is going to go on, the 63rd annual Senior Bowl in Mobile this weekend. You're going to be down there working the event, covering it. But yesterday, as I reported on Pelican Sports Radio, former LSU tight end D'Angelo Peterson, who's one of 3 Tigers participating in the Super Bowl, along with Brandon Taylor and Will Blackwell, came out with some comments to WWL-TV in New Orleans, WWL-TV.com, said that he wondered why the team prepared one offense for the matchup with Alabama and then used another one in the game. Only ran a few plays that they had worked on in the game prep for the Alabama contest. Said that players weren't given an opportunity. Reuben Randall agreed with him, Russell Shepard. Will Blackwell had some comments that we'll tell you about in a minute. Brandon Taylor talked about being disappointed, but D'Angelo Peterson wonders why the team prepared one offense and used another in the game. Your reaction to this, Carter?
It really doesn't surprise you. I mean, I was in the locker room after the game with the guys, and I spoke to Will Blackwell, and you know that quick pitch that they run, they only ran it one time. That was their most successful basic running play that they had been running all year. Alabama had some trouble with that play last time I played on November 5th. I agree completely with D'Angelo Peterson. And the comments are a little late, but D'Angelo Peterson is more of a quiet type of guy. Has he made some controversial comments in the past? Yes, he has. But you look at the offense, the play calling was suspect at times. Then again, sometimes you have to understand that your quarterback has to come to play. And Jordan Jefferson didn't come to play. Fumbled snaps, doesn't know how to read a defense. In the casinos the night before the game. I mean, a few nights before the game, not the night before the game, excuse me. That's terrible. I'm sorry. It was some incompetent, terrible quarterback play from Jordan Jefferson. That's inexcusable. If you're a senior quarterback, you have to be able to deliver for your team. He did not do that. Was that Alabama defense playing at an elite level at a high stage that I've ever seen from a college defense? Yes, they did. I'm not taking away from them whatsoever. But Jordan Jefferson didn't come to play.
Right.
So you look at the play calling, it was a little bit weird. But early on in the second half, LSU missed out on some key opportunities to attack down the field. They missed that first touchdown pass. That would have been a touchdown if Odell Beckham could have brought it in. They go back to pretty much the same play. Jordan Jefferson doesn't read the defense, throws it to Odell Beckham. It was the longest play of the night. A 19-yard, unbelievable throw to the sideline. Great play right there. But if Jordan Jefferson holds the ball a little bit longer, Tommy, and I want everyone to go rewatch this play. Second offensive play for LSU in the second half. If he looks off the safety, watch how wide open D'Angelo Peterson is up the middle. That's called splitting a cover 2 with a tight end seam route. LSU was running 3 verticals, a play that they were really successful with against Alabama. They had their longest passing play in that game as well. If Jordan Jefferson looks off the safety in that game, looks off Robert Lester, he has D'Angelo Peterson, and nobody was within 10 yards of Peterson. He walks into the end zone, and like you said last week when I brought this up, that becomes a 12-7 ball game, and it's completely different.
Well, and I made the comment on Pelican Sports Radio. This story came out shortly before I went on the air on Tuesday afternoon, and had the story, and I said, maybe this is going to, make some of the LSU fans feel a little bit better because they're hearing something as to what went wrong. I kept saying it, other people said it. This wasn't the same team that played 13 games that played in that 14th game. I had a caller calls in to Pelican Sports Radio and says it actually made him more angry than he already was, knowing that the players who were in the game plan, D'Angelo Peterson, saying, hey, we didn't do what we practiced. It made the fan that I was speaking to, I don't know if he's representative of everybody or not, but saying he was more upset now because why? Why would you do this? There's Jefferson dropping a snap like you talked about, Carter, but, this is going to be, somebody else asked me today off the air, a friend of mine said, hey, is it calming down a little bit in Baton Rouge? And I said, yeah, some days, but then it comes back up. And then when D'Angelo Peterson came up with what he said, I said it has sparked it again. I was on radio on Southern Sports Tonight, a college sports station out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, with my good friend Scott McKinney. He asked me about the D'Angelo Peterson comments, and he has a crew member in Mobile going to talk to D'Angelo about going on Southern Sports Tonight, a program that I appear on every Wednesday afternoon at about 4:30. But this is not going to go away. And if LSU doesn't finish strong, as Coach Miles said they had to do with this recruiting class, and again, on paper, they're 16th or 18th or whatever they are, I think LSU fans are going to be all eyes open, and they're going to want to see what happens in spring football. Spring football game will be Saturday, March 31st, time to be announced. It's not real warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, and like I mentioned in the last segment, Patterson is a guy that LSU needs at wide receiver. Does he want to go to a school that only got Ruben Randall 1 ball in the national championship game when they're saying we want you to replace Ruben Randall? I wouldn't want to do that if I'm a wide receiver that has NFL level ability that had to go to a junior college at first. I just wouldn't want to be that guy. So the sour taste of that 21-0 game, it just seems like fans are like, oh goodness, we're not going to get Landon Collins now for sure, which that is probably the case. So you look at that game, a 21-0, in a lot of people in Louisiana's favorite sporting venue in the world, in the Superdome, it still hurts people on campus. I still see people on campus. I haven't seen one person wear crimson red. Yet, that level, it's so bad right now. It's so somber, so dark. I've never been around such a buzzless campus, Tommy, and it's terrible.
And another thing, too, there's 1 week left in the recruiting period, and then signing period begins Wednesday the 1st. That's not the only day they can sign, but that's when 99% of them do. But you know what, Carter? The recruiting world, if you will, can be vicious. It can be ugly. It can be mudslinging. Example, a coach, and I'm not going to name any school in either direction here in the example I'm making, but a coach will not stop at ripping another coach or ripping another school to a recruit saying, why do you want to go play at school A? Look what they did to so-and-so, or look how they handled so-and-so. And if that coach is maybe not under contract for more than a year or two, saying, hey, that guy ain't going to be there for 4 years when you're there. Come to my school, school B. You don't want to go to A. And then, by the way, you don't want to go to school C because, they did this and they're going to do that and they're going to tell you that. It's a vicious mudslinging event, some uglier than others. But I'm hearing that there's a lot of kids being told, look what happened to Jared Lee, the way he was treated as a person, regardless of your football ability. Look what's happening with Gunnar Keel, Landon Collins. These other coaches are trying to tell young recruits who aren't totally decided yet, you might want to think about what you're doing.
And for people to think that these 17 and 18-year-olds don't read the message boards and see all the moods and everyone's Twitter, negative stuff, they have all this all the time, and they can read anything. And just one negative thing said about a program can change your whole mind. These kids aren't even adults, most of them yet. So it's tough. I mean, that's why I don't really follow recruiting as closely as I do when I get a hold of the tape of the recruits and able to evaluate them. I can't get into a recruiter. I can't get into one of these kids' minds. I mean, these kids are already superstars. They're all over the internet, and they're only 17. So it's tough, Tommy, and LSU has to finish strong this recruiting class. And all the other schools, like you said, Arkansas is doing great here at the end. Alabama's raking them in right now. LSU has to keep up because SEC football is a 24/7, 365 sport.
You're getting a look at some Landon Collins clips there, number 2 in the Dutchtown uniform. In the case of this clip, he's in the white jersey. Landon Collins going to visit LSU this weekend, but says he's 100% committed to his verbal commitment of Alabama. Of course, the whole story with his press conference, that was a little bit bizarre. We'll know for sure on February 1 when he does the paperwork. Again, all reports are indicating that he will do the paperwork for Alabama. But until it's done, it's not really done. So anyway, a lot of that stuff goes on. And again, we're not trying to paint an ugly picture for you, but it's reality. It is what does happen. Hey, we got a little special treat for you as we roll to this break. Member of the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame, Debbie Traylor. She's got a little bit of a song for you. It's called It's a Male Thing. You're going to enjoy this as we roll to break. We'll come back with more of Tigers Roar. Enjoy member of the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame, Debbie Traylor.
It's a man.